So it's the first week in June, and I wanted to just show what was looking pretty in the garden. We've had a lot of rain, um, so a lot of things have succumbed to some fungal disease. But one of the things that's looking gorgeous right now in the first week of June are the lilies, and that's all types of lilies, day lilies, and these tall. I'm not sure if they call these oriental lilies, but here is a beautiful kind of maroon lily that looks really pretty with this catmint. This is the Walker's Low catmint, which has bloomed nonstop since it started this spring. So the catmint is still in glorious bloom. The bees are all over it. I don't know if you can see those bees. The honeybees love catmint, and it is not quite maybe as bloomed out as it was, but it has still got tons of blooms on it. But I think it looks really pretty with this lily. I don't know the name of this lily. This has been here for years. I planted this a long time ago. These lilies just continue to divide and get thicker and more full every year. So lilies are awesome. And if you need something to bloom and look pretty in June, these are probably about 3.5 feet tall. Getting close to probably 4 feet, but I would say they're closer probably to 3.5 feet tall. Here are some shorter lilies, and I love this color. They've actually been blooming for some time. They started about a week ago, so you can see a lot of the blooms are spent, but there's still a lot of blooms that are just now opening, and some ones here that have not really opened. Now these are very short lilies. These are probably only about a foot and a half tall, and these are the tiny W Asiatic. Is that how you pronounce Asiatic lily? And they're just a beautiful shade of orange, like that creamsicle orange. Very bright, very cheerful. I think they look really pretty up against the barberry, the Sunjoy citrus barberry. I think yellow looks really pretty. Obviously blue would be pretty. But yeah, this is the season for the lilies for sure. So the daylilies are really starting. Some of them are just now starting. Of course, daylilies, you can buy them early blooming, you can get them mid-season blooming, and late blooming. So these are, I believe, the happy returns. But you can see that in between, I have a red variety, and they are just now starting to bloom. You can see that one over there. So it just depends on which variety that you have on daylilies, on whether they're blooming now. The Stella d'Oro, which is what I started off with, you can't fail with the Stellas. They you just can't kill them. I say that every time in every video, but they are indestructible. They can handle drought. I don't fertilize them. You can divide them, spread them all over. They just are a great plant for beginners or people who don't feel like they have a green thumb. And they stay in these cute little grassy clumps. The Stellas actually, in my opinion, have a prettier grassy clump when they're not in bloom than some of the other type of daylilies that have the wider leaves. These are pretty, but they look a little unkept at times, and I think the Stellas actually have a beautiful form, even when they're not in bloom. So at the front of the house, there's more daylilies. And again, most of these daylilies I got free because I just kept dividing what I had. And you can take a shovel and just chop them and get just a little piece. Here's another lily that's been blooming for some time. This whole area here is a project. I had a huge, big, uh, I don't know, it was a grass. It was a perennial grass that the root ball just got gigantic. It started dying out in the center of the root ball and was sending up these side growth. It just became very invasive. It started trying to get around our vent that's in our crawl space area, our foundation. It was trying to push out this gutter. So my husband literally took the track hoe with a big bucket and just scooped that giant root ball, and we got rid of it. I don't think I would ever want to grow that again. It's just it's just too invasive, and I don't know. It was a beautiful grass. It had really pretty seed heads and things like that. But anyway, this whole area here, I would really love some ideas. I sort of like the corner of our home to show. It's got a little bit, I don't know if you can really tell the details, but it's got a pretty ornamental corner with the brick. Um, and I've got this Japanese maple that has just, it's been here for years and it just does not grow very good. It tries, but it just, I really kind of feel like maybe it should be removed. But you know, you hate to take down something that's actually alive and trying. So I don't know. I thought about maybe doing a Nandina, like an obsession Nandina, something that doesn't hide so much of the corner, but is kind of contrasting with these green boxwoods, and just kind of put some Nandina around here because we can grow Nandina here. We're recently moved to zone 7A in southwestern Kentucky. But if y'all have any suggestions on something that you think would be pretty on the corner of this house, I am just stumped. You know, I thought maybe doing something like Anna's Magic Ball, evergreen, because it's yellow and it would, you know, be a nice contrast as well. Um, you know, I could always do annuals there. It's a possibility, but I don't know. Definitely need something pretty on this corner. If I had it to do all over again, I would have probably never planted this tree there, and I might have would have done some kind of really nice structural evergreen tree, something that can handle full sun in a hot and humid, you know, climate. I don't know, maybe a cryptomeria. I don't know much about a lot of the evergreens, but a lot of the spruces I know really don't like a lot of heat and humidity. So it would have to be something that can handle our more southern heat type summers. But anyway, I came over here to show you these daylilies. These are the Stella d'Oro. And all of these here on this end, not these here, these are very young plantings. And I divided up a lot of these and ended up filling in the rest all the way down through here. And now they have caught up completely with those. You can't even tell that they were planted. I haven't fertilized them. Now, what I'll do, now when they first came up, let me back up. When they first came up this spring, they were cute little tufts. They looked like a mondo grass. And so they had perfect little clumps all the way down through there. And it was really cute even before they bloomed. Now that they've bloomed, they've got this really pretty yellow. It's a very rich yellow. And those blooms will fade. And when they do, I will come through with my hedge trimmers and I will literally chop them almost to ground level, might leave about 2 to 3 inches above the root ball. And they will come back out. And it doesn't take long to do it at all, really, even though there's quite a few, and I've got them on the other side of the sidewalk. And they'll come back out, and a lot of times they will rebloom for me. So I think it just makes a nice little low type hedge, and it looks really pretty with these boxwoods. And I know a lot of people really don't like daylilies. They think they're kind of plain and overly used, maybe. And in some cases, I would agree with that. And a lot of the daylilies I'm not fond of when they're not in bloom, and they don't seem to be bloomed for very long. But these Stella d'Oros bloom for a long time. They can handle sun and shade. I mean, these get almost all day sun. These here, in this area here, this tree completely shades them out most of the morning, and you can see in the afternoon they're all in the shade as well. So, but they bloom without a lot of sun. I mean, this one here is bloomed just as nice and only probably gets about 4 hours of sun. And these down here are bloomed just as much, and they get all day sun, pretty much all day. So that's a cool thing too. Not every plant, not every perennial will flower both in sun and shade. So I'm just pleased with them. I know that they're kind of common, but they're cheap. You can't kill them. They perform, and I don't know. I think they're a winner all the way around. So I still haven't done the mulch. I procrastinate so bad with the mulch. I've got some. You can see that there's the other side of the Stellas. This is a shorter, because my house is shorter on this side, but you can see how the Stellas go down through here as well. And again, these back in here, very shaded. From about 2 o'clock on, they get no sun, and even in the morning, this tree here blocks a lot of their sun, because this is the east, and the sun comes up there, so it's blocked um, a lot as well. But you can see they perform just fine. It's not deep shade, but it's not direct sunlight either. But the other daylilies that I have are, some of them are blooming. Some of them I have back here are later to bloom. I'm not a fan of these. I'm really not a fan of any of the daylilies, honestly, except for the Stellas. And I think it's more of the way that the habit of the plant. These strappy leaves look a little bit sparse and I don't know, a little messier than the Stellas. The Stellas, the foliage, I think looks just really pretty. It looks like an ornamental grass to me when it's not in bloom. So, but the red's pretty as well. The Coral Freedom Rose needs to be completely sheared back and let it reflush. It's been blooming since spring, but you can see that it's kind of come to a lull and needs to be deadheaded and pruned heavily, and it will reflush. I'll get another nice flush, but you can see the blooms are aged. That's one of my next things to do in the garden area, is just prune back all of my roses. Something else that's beginning to bloom is my blue chiffon rose of Sharon. And it's, I think it's kind of early for a rose of Sharon to be blooming. I mean, this is the 2nd of June, and it's already blooming, but it's got tons of buds all over it. So this will continue to bloom for weeks and weeks and weeks. And this is the one that I tree formed here. I really wasn't thinking ahead, because I've got this tree form rose of Sharon, but then I've got this castle, well, anyway, it's a holly, not castle spire. Maybe it is castle spire holly. It's a proven winners. Honestly, I didn't know if this thing was going to make it. It died back, but then it just came out, and it's it's taller than me, and I'm 5'4". So now I feel like, well, what am I going to do? Because this, they're just all in each other's business. You know, you make so many bad choices in gardening sometimes, but it's okay. Nothing's permanent, but I just think that's beautiful. Blue chiffon rose of Sharon, already in bloom, and it will be blooming for a long, long time. So against the barn here, I have the Sun King Aralia, which is not a blooming plant, but it is a very bright foliage plant. It is in mostly full shade all day, except in the late evening you can see as the sun is going towards the west, it gets a little bit for a couple of hours. I wouldn't say it gets more than 3 or 4 hours of sun all day long. And it dies back completely to the ground to the point that you think it's dead. And it seems to take it a little while to emerge in the spring. But once it does, it grows super fast. Let me see if I can go around the other side just so you can see how bright it really is. In the shade, it's usually pretty dark. Now, this is not a good representation because this is late evening, and so this is about the only time this area gets sun. But normally, this is a very shady area. And so you want to brighten it up. And there are ways to do that. Hostas that have white variegation on them, or a chartreuse hosta, or this Sun King Aralia is a very, very bright addition, and it fills in an area really nice. So I have nothing but wonderful things to say about this plant, but I didn't even know if it would live because it took so long for it to emerge from the ground. But I have it planted with this hosta, and you can see the white variegation of the hosta leaves against that chartreuse green, that real bright lime green. I think that's pretty. So, very pleased with the Sun King Aralia. The yellow freedom rose is really looking pretty. I pruned this back really, really hard, and it has just rewarded me with just tons of new growth. I mean, I pruned it back down to where it was probably only a foot from the ground, and it has sent out all this new growth, and it's got buds on it. I do not spray this. I do not treat this in any way for black spot or for insects. It's just it's had lots of rain, so the roses, if they were at all susceptible to black spot, this rose would have it because we've just had tons and tons of heavy rain, and we have high humidity here. So this rose, as you can see, very clean foliage. Nothing. So these freedom roses, there's the coral freedom rose I showed earlier, and this yellow freedom rose. Very pretty, just a rich buttery yellow. The spent blooms are not so pretty, but it's still got buds. So this one here will be blooming for a little while before I cut it back. Over here you can see the heuchera. Again, this is normally shaded area, but it's in the evening and it's just now getting some sun. But I think those two heucheras are pretty together. This is, I believe, the red lightning, and this, I believe, is the berry smoothie. And then right there beside it is a little baby plant that I just planted of some lungwort. I believe that's the Proven Winners Spot On. Underneath this Japanese maple is some hosta that are also really, really nice to add to your shade area. This is the Coast to Coast hosta, and this has been here about 3 years, and the first couple of years it grew, but they just weren't really big. Wow, this year, of course, we've had tons of rain, but we usually have tons of rain in the spring. This year, it has just exploded in growth. This is for sure, I would say, gosh, probably 4 feet wide and probably about 2.5 feet tall. And I estimate that next year it will even get bigger. But what a bright chartreuse color. And I think it looks pretty with the stellas and the variegated hosta in the back with the white margins there. And then, of course, the purple leaves of the Japanese maple. So you can do a lot with shade gardens just with foliage color. The wee white hydrangeas are just, I need to eventually trim up this weeping Japanese maple, but it's just not quite tall enough yet to limb up too dramatically. But the wee white hydrangeas are blooming, and this is not a good representation because it's just now starting. These will be huge, and they'll look like fluffy clouds. Um, Again, that's not even open yet, just now starting. So the wee white hydrangeas are a beautiful, beautiful perennial. You can see that this area here is nothing but foliage color. And look how bright. So you've got the heuchera that's red. Over here you have a blue hosta that is just a very cool shade of blue with this wonderful burgundy heuchera. This is the lava lamp heuchera. And then you have the bright yellow margins of the autumn frost hosta. And then here you have a wiggles and squiggles hosta. Look at the textural difference between that hosta and that one. I mean, just the textural difference is pretty cool. You know, this is really wavy and thin, strappy, and this is a broadleaf. And I had cut this, chopped it, and took a section of it and planted it over here. And it's doing wonderful. I didn't realize that it was too close to this autumn frost. You can see that it's already, but I can divide this autumn frost and take the division off of this side and plant it somewhere else. I mean, it's amazing how well this autumn frost hosta does. But here's a little heuchera that I just planted. It's very, very beautiful color. It's a very rich wine color. This one is called Electric Plum, and it will get substantially larger. That's just a very young plant. And I've got some hellebores back here that have blooms on them. But the blooms are a very green color, so they kind of blend in with the foliage. You can't really even hardly tell until you get right on them that, you know, these are blooms. They had more burgundy on them earlier. They bloom for an extended period of time. There's another blue hosta, and this one is a Georgia peach heuchera. Very beautiful, nice veining, a lighter mauvey color that really shines in the shade. Over here, you can kind of see the Hakana cloa grass, which is growing underneath the Japanese maple. And I ordered that from Etsy. I think it's been there. This might be its second year, maybe. This is it's going on its third year. It's called All Gold. And it pretty much gets shade all day. Even in the morning. I mean, it might get a little bit early, but this Japanese maple really shades it most of the day. This is a little bitty blue one that hasn't grown for some reason like the others. This one is Island Breeze, and this one is Island Breeze. And that's a beautiful yellow color too. And they will continue to get much larger. This is a Hope Springs Eternal, just a little baby. These also get very large. They're more of a blue with the white margins. Not a really good example because it's so little. But I think those are beautiful hostas too. The May night salvia is still blooming. It's kind of on its way out. It flopped pretty bad, but then it sort of came up. It sort of came up from the center, and it's still got quite a few blooms on it. So it's been bloomed for a long time. The salvias really do stay bloomed in flower for a long time. The spirea here, the double play doozy, as you can see, is mostly browned. I need to go in and deadhead it, but there are still some pretty pinks in there. But for the most part, it really needs to be deadheaded. The candy corn spirea, I've said it in every video. This looks gorgeous all year except in the winter. In the winter, it will lose its leaves. It's a deciduous. But look at the foliage on this guy. I mean, wow. Look at that. Down in there is a chartreuse, and then there's a yellow, and then an orange, and then this red. It's just amazing foliage. And it's like this from early spring until fall. It's just a gorgeous spirea. A couple things that are still blooming but probably should be cut back is the some of the clematis is still looking beautiful. Some of the clematis has already it's already stopped blooming, and I've pruned it back. Even though this is not a bloom, the foliage of the Winecraft Black Smoke Bush is gorgeous. I have another smoke bush over here. It's growing slower, but it's beautiful as well. Not quite as vibrant color as the Winecraft Black, and it's certainly not as vigorous growing. It has a lot more branching though. I've actually had it here longer, and it's substantially smaller than the Winecraft Black. But it's still a beautiful, if you need something that's a burgundy color, smoke bushes are the way to go. Absolutely gorgeous. Over here in this area near my greenhouse, you can see the catmint here. I showed the Walker's Low, but this is the cat's meow, and you can see it is still blooming. It's a very long bloomer as well. And I just transplanted these, so they are really just working on root growth probably at this point. But you can see how they have really put out a lot of blooms, even though I'm sure they were stressed from the transplant. The unplugged pink salvia is an annual for us, and it's beautiful. It's a little bit different structure of salvia than the perennial salvias like the pink profusion. But the main reason I walked over here was to show you the yarrow. You can see that it is really exploding with color here. It's got a lot of little pollinators on it, and the leaf structure is very unique, very ferny. These stems are very strong. We've had tons of wind, and it's just a very, very strong plant. The wind does not blow it over. It's just beautiful. This is a fairly tall yarrow. This is the Tutti Frutti pink grapefruit, and it is probably, I would say, 3 feet tall, if not slightly under 3 feet tall. But it's, I mean, it's up to it's as long as my legs basically. And then I have the white yarrow that's just now starting to open its blooms. And I was hoping, and I think it still will, that this will still be in bloom when my Queen of Sweden gets cut back and puts out some new growth. I'm hoping. I should have already cut back the Queen of Sweden. It just got done with its bloom flush. It was just loaded, looking gorgeous, and just in the last couple of days, it just stopped. So I need to go in here and give it a nice haircut and let it send up some new growth, and it'll have all new blooms. And I'm hoping that the yarrow will also be bloomed at the same time. This yarrow is called Firefly Diamond, and I thought it would be really pink, that white up against the Queen of Sweden roses. And I'll show you what the Queen of Sweden rose looks like. On this side, I have a Queen of Sweden also, but I don't have the white yarrow. I have yellow, which is the Firefly Sunshine. And you can see the color of the Queen of Sweden. Just a beautiful, soft baby doll pink. I think it looks really pretty up against the Priscilla petunias. Isn't that a pretty, the purple and the pink? I just think that's gorgeous. And then you've got the chartreuse there with it. I think that's just a beautiful combination color. This north side of the greenhouse normally is full shade, and it's right here in late evening, so it's getting a little dose of sun right here in the evening. And you can see some more of the Haconocloa grass right here, the all gold, and the blue hosta. And I planted the supertunia. This is the saffron finch down through here. You can see there's like 5 of those. And my hydrangeas, it'll be a little bit, but they're starting to put on their little flower buds. This is the little tiny quickfire, I believe is what this one's called. Yep, tiny quickfire. It'll stay very small. More of the purple heuchera. Lamium. Lamium does not like heat at all. It was looking gorgeous. As soon as the heat kicked up, man, whew, the lamium just started begging for mercy. Just planted this Brunnera not too long ago. It seems to be doing really well. It doesn't like sun, but this is about the only sun. It gets early morning, and then like right now, it'll get maybe an hour of sun, and then it won't get any more sun. This is the pulmonaria here. This is the Trevi fountain, and I love the spotted leaves on this. I just think it's such a neat leaf look. Some more of the yarrow here. This is more of the tutti frutti pink grapefruit. My Gara is starting to bloom. And I'm hoping that it really sends up some tall bloom spikes and has these little blooms all over it. I cut it back really hard, like literally down to the ground. So all of this is new growth this spring. We'll see how that does. So I hesitate to even show you these hollyhocks because they're horrible. Before, let me at least start off with a positive. This is the halo apricot, or apricot halo, and the blooms are beautiful. But this plant is so diseased that I am almost don't even want to touch it. I want you to look at this. I'm assuming this is fungal. Look at that. Isn't that horrible? I mean, everything else in this garden bed has had the same amount of rain. Okay, look at this guy. I mean, this is the summer crush hydrangea, really starting to put on its blooms. It is very green, very lush. But then look at that thing. I mean, it is, obviously, I'm going to cut it down. The only reason I haven't is because the blooms up here, this is an 8-foot tall plant. They're so pretty that I hated to just cut it down. But this plant is not going to stay here. It can't handle it. I don't know if maybe it's because it gets shade in the afternoon, and so the leaves were staying wet after the rain, and that's why it got so diseased. But this plant here, it's twin. I mean, it's gone. Look, you can see what those yellow spots have done. Like I said, I hesitate to even show you this because this is embarrassing. It's so disgusting. This will not be here long. I'm gonna dig them up, and something else will have to go here. I had no idea that hollyhocks were this susceptible to disease like that. This one started to bloom, and then the blooms, it just couldn't do it. It just couldn't do it. Isn't that hideous? So we live and we learn. The first time I've ever grown hollyhock, so I didn't realize that apparently they just do not like a lot of rain. It's got to be fungal. It's got to be. I planted this darling little reminiscent coral rose from Proven Winners. It was so, I thought it had died. I had left it in its pot for so long. I almost did not even plant it because the whole plant basically looked like this stick. But I want you to know, this thing, as soon as I got it in the ground, about a week later, I could start seeing a little push of new leaves. And it is now blooming. This is the reminiscent coral rose. So I am excited that I have something that wants to live, even though all the odds were stacked against it. And then I have something that I took good care of, and it just doesn't want to live. Man, Have you all had issues with hollyhocks doing that? It's such a shame, too, because these blooms are just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at this. Isn't that beautiful? It just makes me sad. I mean, it's too tall to be here anyway, right? I mean, this is 8 foot tall. That branch there is as tall as my ceiling in the house almost. So it's too tall. But, you could always move it, transplant it, but I don't want it at all if it's going to look like this. What a shame. I wanted to take a minute and show you some things that I just planted, so that we can kind of maybe just document when they were planted and what my hopes are, and then maybe next year we can see if they survive. This is a pomegranate, a hardy pomegranate tree. And you can see the beautiful, bright orange blooms. And it produces edible pomegranates, but it's not a very super hardy. Man, that is like a very, very rich orange. I believe it's only hardy to zone 7, and we have just been ranked as a zone 7. This is the Russian 26. They gave it a number, pomegranate. And so we'll see. Now, I try to use good judgment, and I planted this on the south side of this barn. So it's protected from the north is over there. It's protected from any north winds coming directly on. It's protected from the west. This is the west. It's got this shed here in this barn. So I've got it in the most protected area, other than putting it right up against the building like I have done my Arizona cypress. I planted it in about the closest or the most protected area I could think of. So we will monitor this and see if it has a lot of winter die-off or if it can survive. I hope it survives. I have another one still in its pot over there on the little porch. So I don't know. It's a very wild, it produces these branches that just go way out and then they curve around. I'm not real crazy about the habit of this thing, so I'm kind of trying to sort of train it down there with all my little supports. But I didn't want to do too much. I just wanted to see if it will actually even live, if it'll make it through the winter. And if it does, then we'll work on training it for shape. So that's the pomegranate tree that I planted. Over here, on this side of the greenhouse, you like my rabbit protection? Plastic laundry baskets. The rabbits are my nemesis. I can literally plant stuff, and the next day I come out and it's completely gone, down to the soil level where they have chewed it off. Sometimes they don't even eat it, they just chew it off for kicks. But I have a couple of lilies here that are not really out yet, but they're beautiful, beautiful corally pink. But I planted 2 little hydrangeas. They get sun until the afternoon. This is the Wee Bit Innocent. Again, these are just planted and they just came from little tiny, I don't know what the smallest container is that Proven Winners has. It's not even the Grande. It's like smaller than the Grande. I guess it's not a quart. Maybe it's a pint. I don't know. But anyway, it was the smallest Proven Winners pot that you can get is what these came out of. And so the Wee Bit Innocent and the Wee Bit Giddy. And they both get the same height. Obviously, this one has a very rich, dark pink. And this is more of your soft baby doll pink. So I'm really hoping that this one does well because that's my favorite. My favorite color of pink is that real soft, sweet pink. So those are new plantings. The Inca Lolly that I showed last year, planting it, it was so root bound that I didn't know if it would survive. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? We're sort of on the edge of its hardiness. I think it's a zone 7 and we're a zone 7. So a really, really cold, we just got moved from zone 6B. So If we were to have a really super cold winter, it would probably kill this Inca holly, but it stayed. There was green on it pretty much even through the winter, but I have it on the south side of this building with a metal, dark metal, and it's in sun all day. So it is really protected from north wind, and it's done wonderful. It's significantly larger than it was last year, but this particular alstroemeria, that's what this one is an alstroemeria. It does not get super tall, but it is the most beautiful bloom. Look at that. So tropical looking. I just love it. Absolutely love it. It's a red, but it's a cool red. It's a very, very cool red, and I think it actually kind of goes pretty well with this perennial verbena. A friend of mine gave me a cutting of this perennial verbena. This is about 3 feet tall, close to 3.5 feet tall, and it has stayed bloomed for weeks upon weeks. It is just and it doesn't even really show signs of going away anytime soon. I mean, they're just vibrant neon purple. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Would go with so many things. So, this perennial verbena is just amazing. It stands very tall. It doesn't have a lot of foliage. Way down deep it does, but up here it's mostly just blooms. So wouldn't that be pretty to come up kind of through different things, like maybe between roses or anything really? I've got a couple more here. They look like they're really wilted. I need to water them. They look like they're struggling. I just planted them. A few other things that I planted here recently. This is the storm cloud Amsonia. I had this one poor one right here that was in a pot for almost 2 years, and the pill bugs had almost eroded all of the soil out of the bottom of the pot. The roots were severely exposed, so it was just it started off severely handicapped. But I planted it anyway, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the Amsonia, the storm cloud, and so hopefully next spring they'll all come out and be beautiful. But what I planted also were these little baby Perfectamundo azaleas. So this is a baby one, and then all these that have these rabbit cages around them. This one here. This is the double pink Perfectamundo azaleas, and then I have one here. I also have a fourth one, but I bought it and planted it earlier, and it was a larger pot. So it's looks a lot greener. It's a lot healthier. It's the same variety, but it will, it's larger because I bought it different, and it was a larger pot to start with. So I'm hoping they get about 4 foot tall, 4 foot wide. So I'm kind of hoping it kind of fills in that area. And then I have a video where I planted these desert orchids, the El Nino desert orchids. And I just wanted to give you an update on those. So they had been in a little tiny pot, because everything I buy is in little tiny pots. That's all I can afford. And they were so root bound. They got covered up in some type of an insect. And so I finally thought, you know what, I got to get them in the ground. So I came out here and I videotaped me planting them. And I want to show you the new growth. So this right here, all of this right here is new growth. And then over here, this is all this top little leaves there, that's all new growth. And all of this right here, and all of these, that's all new growth from this plant. And there's one small branch down there. So that one has just taken off. I planted these way high because I have a drain line that comes out, and we've had so much rain that this area just stays wet, wet, wet. And so I didn't want a desert orchid, which obviously is used to dry conditions, to get overly wet. Since I have more of a problem with losing plants due to rot than anything else, I planted them way high, to the point where I figured I would get comments that wasn't going to work, but it didn't. But as you can see, so far, they're doing really good. Now, this is the second one that I planted, and it is, I've got a rabbit caging on this one because, you know, even though this is woody, they will actually chew the bark off of these things just for fun, or sharpening their teeth or something. But I wanted to show you this is new growth, all of this. So it's actually starting to push forth new growth as well. So that tells me that it's happy. So I transplanted some roses. These are the Lady of Shallot, or Lady Shallot, Lady of Shallot. None of these were healthy. Disclaimer. I had neglected them and I didn't like where they were, and I thought I don't want to get rid of them, so I just put them down here. They're planted way too close together, but I wanted just to see if I could get them to live. And the most recent thing I've done is I planted this little Temple of Bloom. I guess it's a shrub, but you can it's actually a small tree, I think. But it's little bitty tiny thing. So we'll see. We'll see how it does. This is my little rabbit. It's a Dollar Tree trash can that's made out of wire, but it's completely permeable to air, and the rabbits can't get to it, and were $1 a piece at Dollar Tree, so you can't beat that. Some of these things obviously are too big, and that's why I have to use this kind of like a fencing hardware cloth, 1-inch by 1-inch squares. Makes a perfect rabbit barrier because they really don't usually climb up over the top of this. And you could make it taller if you wanted to, but it's real simple to do it. You just take some pliers, and then where I cut it, I just bend it back over on itself, and that locks it in place. And you usually, when you cut it, you have on the downside here, you'll have wires that are poking down, and that sticks down in the earth and it keeps it nice and stable. And we've had some serious winds, and I have not had any of these blow away, and I do not have them staked. This one here is not staked at all. You can literally just pick it up. You can kind of see how the wires are, and then I just kind of nestle down in the mulch. And I don't even have this one connected, but it's not necessary because it bends and stays where you want it. The dahlias are starting to be beautiful. This is a dahlia I started from seed. Isn't that pretty? And my little, I think this is Cosmos. This is the Cosmos something. I forget, some kind of pink variety from seed. I started it from seed. So anyway, it's definitely a project in the making. Still got so many ideas and plans. This whole area here, I want to develop it eventually. This area right in here floods severely bad. I made a video where I had pulled all the gravel back and took a hand post hole digger, and dug a extremely deep hole that was probably, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet wide, diameter all the way down like 3.5 feet, something like very, very deep, especially to do it by hand, and just kind of filled it up with gravel to see if I could get it to drain the water off. And it worked. It definitely worked, but it will still be overwhelmed, and this will still back up with water in this area here. So I just I'm gonna have to really think this through. But what I'd like to do is make a nice boxwood hedge that kind of comes in here and curves and does the same thing on the other side, and maybe bring some gravel here, because if I have plants and things like that I want to unload, a lot of times I could back in here, but then my car is in the way. So it would be kind of, I think, nice to have like a more of an entrance here, and or some kind of a fence or some kind of boxwood hedge that goes back behind this area here. But you know, it's just about having enough time, having enough energy, and having enough money. This is a plant that's very, 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 very cold hardy. It's so cold hardy that I don't know if I can keep it alive. It is a Himalayan birch, a white barked birch. Now it's loving life right now. All this new growth is coming up out of it. Um, they love water. So if you can notice right in here, I've got this drain that's underground, but it comes off of this downspout. So when the water rain hits this roof, it comes down this downspout, and it comes out here. And this usually will stay wet. You can see, if you can notice, you can tell that the soil is darker. It's wet, and we haven't had rain in 2 days. So my thoughts are is that the roots of this Himalayan birch will have access to really, really wet soil and hopefully like that. But ideally, what I want to do is plant something here behind it, uh, like have some type of a hedge that curves around here and it goes up straight up to the porch of my greenhouse, like a boxwood hedge that curves, that I can keep pruned into a nice compact size. But it will grow up behind this birch enough that in the afternoon it will at least shade the root area. If it can get it to shade the root area, I think I can keep this birch happy. Um, for now, I'm just going to try to kind of keep things on top of the soil, on top of the mulch, keep it mulched heavily, and maybe that will keep it shaded enough. And as we get hotter on extremely hot days, listen, I'm not opposed to coming out here and putting a beach umbrella over this thing. I'll just do whatever I have to do um, to keep it alive. But it's doing great right now. But it has not gotten super super hot yet, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to show you what's looking really pretty right now. Obviously the annuals, the Bermuda, I don't know if this is called Bermuda Beach. It's a petunia, gorgeous gorgeous color, large blooms, beautiful beautiful. And of course the verbena, this is an annual verbena planted in there. Two beautiful beautiful annuals there. And so they'll just get nicer and nicer looking. I wanted to show you, I think maybe I showed this in the last video. I can't remember exactly, but I really love this geranium. Now this is just a non-branded geranium, but I want you to look at the leaves. Isn't that amazing? So like there's your burgundy, which I planted this sweet potato vine that I think goes really nice with the burgundy. And then in this same container, I planted the lemon coral sedum, which is the nice chartreuse color, which goes, I think, well with that. And then obviously you can't go wrong with purple. Purple looks beautiful with any kind of yellow or chartreuse. So this is the Priscilla petunia that I have. It's sort of, I only planted one of them. I just planted one of each thing. But you can see that this geranium has got leaves over here, way over here, and way over here. So this thing has just, and way back here, it has sent out branching all over. This is a very large container, but I just think that is a very beautiful arrangement there. It's just a hodgepodge of various things coming around on this side. So this right here, I can't remember, what is this? I wouldn't plant this one again. Spicy Electric White? Biden's. This is a Biden's. I mean, it's okay. Maybe it's not getting enough sun, but I mean, it's not vigorous. It's being completely crowded out by everything in here. You can see it's dying. I'm thinking about just taking it out. I mean, this beautiful sweet potato vine is taking over. This is a proven winners. It's a proven accents. It's called Illusion Midnight Lace sweet potato vine. And it's really really doing well. I actually planted this before we were even to our last frost date, so I had to cover it a couple of times because we had some pretty substantial frosts. But I covered it with some burlap, and then I put an umbrella over it, and it did fine. It survived it. So I have this other plant in here, but it's getting swallowed up too. Really and truly, all you needed was this Priscilla petunia, the lemon coral sedum, which is completely taken over, and really this geranium and the sweet potato vine. That would have been more than sufficient. I could have eliminated the Bidens, and I could have eliminated this. I think it's some kind of a licorice or something like that. I cannot remember what it is, but it's just, it was an off branded thing. I cannot remember what it's called. Anyways, way down in there, you can kind of see it, but it's just, I mean, here it's sending out a little stem, and here's some. But really, I didn't need it because this geranium. Now, this geranium, let me get the name of it for you because it's a one that I think is extremely unique, and it was at just a local garden center here, and it's called, nope, sorry, that's the limelight licorice. That's the licorice, not the geranium. Let's see if I can find the tag. Okay, it's called Mrs. Pollock. Mrs. Pollock is the name of this geranium. Now, the geranium has blooms. Okay, it's these orange blooms. I say orange. It's, I guess, maybe an orangey red. But that is not. Oh, I mean, as a matter of fact, I've cut some of these blooms off. It's the color of the foliage. I mean, look, even the little baby leaves. Look how they're colored up. Isn't that amazing? I've never seen one like this. I love it. And apparently it's readily available. If my little garden center here had it, I'm sure yours would probably have it where you are. I need to deadhead a lot of this petunia. So anyway, thank you so much for watching if you're still with me. And if anything changes in the garden and looks pretty, I'll probably post another video. I like to keep track of what's going on so I can watch it myself and remember, what did I do last year? What did I have planted there last year? So it's really good to document with video what you do in your garden. And I post it on YouTube so that, you know, if anybody's interested, they can kind of see what I've done. And then you can see where I start, how terrible and sparse everything looks. And then maybe in a few years, it's going to look glorious. That's my hope anyway. Thanks for watching.